Look down at the Earth today. Satellites track global shipping lanes in real time. Algorithms log our daily purchases, and millions of cameras record our commutes. We live in an era where anonymity is practically extinct and data is absolute. Yet, right alongside this mountain of digital surveillance, there is a glaring contradiction. Some of the most highly scrutinized, globally significant events of the last century remain entirely unresolved. Take the assassination of John F. Kennedy. It is arguably the most dissected 6 seconds of film ever recorded, spawning tens of thousands of pages of government reports. Decades later, a vast majority of the public still outright rejects the official conclusion. This happens because of an information vacuum. When a world-altering shockwave hits and the official explanation centers on a single, isolated actor managing an impossible shot, the brain rebels. The scale of the cause fails to match the scale of the effect. We will look past the specific suspects and theories to examine the machinery behind them. We will deconstruct the systemic failures and psychological loops that guarantee these mysteries outlive us all. The most resilient theories rarely emerge from thin air. They anchor themselves to a very real, documented fracture in the official timeline. Look closely at this declassified document. When a government releases a report with black blocs hiding intelligence, they hand the public a mandate for suspicion. Those redactions act as a literal blank canvas. By obscuring black site operations, citizens write their absolute worst fears into the empty margins. And history shows those fears are often grounded in reality. Intelligence agencies have spent decades operating black budgets, overthrowing foreign leaders, and conducting covert surveillance on their own citizens entirely out of public view. The oxygen for these alternative narratives is actual, verified government secrecy. The institutional cover-up is the exact soil required for a permanent mystery to take root. In the scientific method, an idea is only taken seriously if it is falsifiable. There has to be a specific, testable way to prove the hypothesis wrong. Grand mysteries survive by turning that rule upside down. They construct a reality where a lack of physical evidence is treated as the ultimate proof. This flowchart maps a conspiracy's defensive structure. If a researcher finds a leaked document, the theory is confirmed. But if an investigation turns up nothing, that missing evidence proves the cover-up's power. You are trapped inside an infinite loop, entirely immune to factual correction. By abandoning the basic rules of evidence, these narratives achieve a kind of immortality. They can never be definitively solved or completely destroyed. Beyond the structural flaws in our institutions, the real engine of the unsolved mystery is biological. It relies on cognitive patternicity, the brain's hardwired evolutionary drive to find shapes, faces, and deliberate connections inside random noise. When we witness a senseless tragedy or a sudden shock, our physiology rebels against the randomness. Our brains will aggressively grab entirely unrelated data points, a misspoken word, a strange coincidence, and force them together into a rigidly structured narrative. Ambiguous visual data is the perfect trigger. We look at a grainy blur against a gray sky, and our neurological wiring actively fills in the gaps, transforming an optical illusion into a piece of highly advanced intentional engineering. We project intent onto the unknown because it provides a strange psychological armor. As terrifying as a hyper-competent, evil shadow government might be, it implies that someone is at least driving the car. That is deeply comforting compared to the truth, that we live in a chaotic universe where terrible, world-altering accidents happen entirely by chance. These mysteries endure because they are a defense mechanism. They shield us from the crushing anxiety of an unscripted reality. When you combine those two forces, the verifiable gaps in institutional transparency and our biological desperation for order, you create a perfectly engineered cognitive trap. That is why we cannot dismiss these enduring mysteries as mere internet folklore or a symptom of mass gullibility. This stretch of highway in Dallas anchors these abstract theories to physical ground. It stands as a living monument to collective trauma and a generational skepticism toward those in power. We are never going to close these files by simply unearthing a sharper photograph or a forgotten piece of testimony. The only way to dismantle a conspiracy is to entirely rebuild the architecture of transparency within the institutions that govern us. As long as an official narrative is handed down with missing pages and redacted ink, the human mind will inevitably build a bridge of conspiracy to cross the gap.